Hi everyone, welcome to this channel, GCP for Dummies. This series is based on the Associate Cloud Engineering exam provided by Google Cloud. We're going to go step by step in our prep for this exam. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and I wish you the very best of luck in your exam. In the last video, we introduced compute resources. In this video, we'll be introducing storage options on the cloud. But first, let's have a look at some keywords that we will need in order to go through these storage options. First is cache. You might be familiar with this or have heard of it when you're working with the internet and it asks you if you want to use cookies or you want to store things in cache. Cache are in-memory storage. They remember details that you permit them to. So if you press yes, remember my password, that's stored in your cache memory. NFS Network File System is a file system that's useful to locate and store files in a specific way. It makes it highly available. SSD is solid-state drive attached to a VM, well, to a server. HDD are hard disk drives which are just faster than SSDs. They are also attached to VMs or servers. Buckets are exactly as they sound. They're buckets where you can put objects, usually files, in groups and then access them by URL. You'll have an external URL if you want to, and an internal URL where you can access these buckets and their contents. Ephemeral disks are those which only store data while the machine is running. So when you shut it down, all the memory in that ephemeral disk is deleted. Persistent disks are those which store the data even when your machine is shut down. So if you want to keep anything before you shut your VM down, you might want to store it in persistent disks. Latency is the time taken to retrieve data from its storage. Now, let's have a look at our concepts. First, we're going to have a look at storage option, object storage. Object storage is where you store files in buckets and then you address those files by URL. In Google Cloud, object storage is referred to as cloud storage. Cloud storage is not limited by SSDs, so you can store as much as you're going to pay for. Cloud storage can also be split into types. You have regional, multi-regional, nearline, and cold line. We'll expand on these when we get to cloud storage options and how to choose the best one. Now let's have a look at file storage. File storage on GCP is called Cloud File Store. It stores files based on NFS, as we discussed before. Next, we have our block storage. Block storage on GCP can be ephemeral or persistent. We've discussed both of these in the keyword section. You attach these to your VM, and that way you can store data while you're using and even after you're using, depending on which disk you decide to use. Finally, we have cache, which are in-memory storage. But let's go through some downfalls of cache because it's quite important. You don't want to store the wrong data on cache and lose it. Caches are very, very volatile. Cache is an in-memory storage, which means that it's low latency. Therefore, you get the answer that you're looking for, you get the data that you want to retrieve quite quickly when it's available. However, since it's volatile, you can lose data when you lose power, when you reboot, and many other scenarios. So if that data is important and you haven't stored it anywhere else, you're going to have a problem. It's also more expensive than SSDs and HDDs. That means it's more expensive in the sense that you're losing memory space instead of storing everything on your drives. It's also risky. It can get out of sync very easily. Let's take a scenario where you've stored your password on your Mac and then you logged onto your account on your phone. You forgot your account login details, and so you reset the password on your phone. It will not reset that password on your laptop, and that way, that time, there's a difference between the password on your phone and the password on the website and the password on your Mac. That means it's out of sync. So if you're storing important details on cache, you could lose that. To recap, this has been looking at file storage, block storage, cloud storage, and cache. Thanks for tuning in, hit the like and subscribe, and let's get on to the next concept.